Welcome to Next Story. In the spectacularly sparkly kingdom of Glimmerdale lived a princess named Penelope, but everyone called her Princess Pickle. Why Pickle, you ask? Well, it wasn't because she was green or bumpy. It was because she was always getting herself into the most peculiar pickles. She wasn't a naughty princess, not at all. She was just incredibly curious and had a brand new glitter-covered magic wand that she was still learning how to use. Her royal magic tutor, a wise old owl named Professor Hoot, was always telling her, "Patience, Princess Pickle, patience. Magic needs a gentle hand and a calm heart." But patience was one thing Princess Pickle had very little of. She wanted to cast amazing spells right now. One sunny Tuesday morning, Princess Pickle was supposed to be practicing the levitation spell. The task was simple: make a single feather float gracefully from one side of the room to the other. She pointed her wand, wiggled her fingers, and shouted the magic words, "Feather light and feather bright, take to the air and begin your flight." But instead of the feather floating, her royal slippers lifted off her feet and started doing the cha-cha in mid-air. Professor Hoot sighed a feathery sigh. "Almost, Your Highness. A little less wiggle, a little more focus." But Princess Pickle was bored of feathers. She wanted to try something big, something exciting, something silly. That's when she had the silliest idea of her entire princess life. "Professor Hoot," she announced, "I am going to cast the Great Giggle spell. I will make the entire castle laugh with joy." Professor Hoot's big, round eyes got even bigger. "Oh dear, Princess Pickle, that is a very advanced and very tricky spell. It's in Chapter 27 of Advanced Enchantments. We are still on Chapter 2. Perhaps we should stick to the feather for now." But Princess Pickle's mind was made up. While Professor Hoot was busy alphabetizing his spell scrolls, she tiptoed into the royal library. She found the huge, dusty book of Advanced Enchantments and flipped right to Chapter 27. There it was, the Great Giggle spell. The instructions looked very complicated, with lots of swishes and flicks and some very long, tongue-twisting magic words. "Pish-posh," she whispered to herself. "How hard can it be?" She read the first line. "A pinch of sunshine, a drop of dew. Easy peasy." She had those in her pocket garden. And a whisper from a cheerful shoe. A cheerful shoe? That was a strange one. She looked down at her royal slippers, which were still tapping their toes after their little dance. "You look cheerful enough," she decided. She gathered her ingredients in a small, sparkly cauldron. She pointed her wand, took a deep breath, and began to chant the words from the book. "Gigglius, wigglius, laugh a lot too. Fill this castle with happy hoo-hoo. From the tippy-top tower to the royal shoe, let everyone giggle, me and you." As she said the last word, she gave her wand the biggest, most powerful swish she could manage. A giant puff of rainbow-colored smoke erupted from the cauldron, filling the room. It smelled like bubblegum and freshly baked cookies. "It worked!" she cheered. At first, everything seemed normal. But then, a quiet titter came from the corner. It was Sir Reginald, the grumpiest suit of armor in the castle, who hadn't moved in 100 years. His metal helmet was jiggling. Then came a giggle from the royal portrait of her great-great-grandfather, King Cuthbert the Stern. His painted mustache was twitching with mirth. Soon the entire castle was filled with laughter. The teacups were chortling on their saucers. The chandeliers were tinkling with glee. The royal chefs were laughing so hard they were accidentally juggling tomatoes. It was a symphony of silliness. Princess Pickle clapped her hands with delight. "I did it! I'm the best spellcaster ever!" But her celebration was cut short by a very strange sound. It wasn't a giggle. It was a ribbit. She looked down. Her royal slippers had turned into two bright green croaking frogs. "Ribbit! Ribbit!" They hopped away from her, leaving her standing in her sparkly socks. "Oh dear," she said. Then she heard a squeak. The royal throne, a grand chair made of oak and velvet, had sprouted a fluffy tail and was nibbling on a piece of cheese that had rolled out of the kitchen. The great giggle spell hadn't just made everyone laugh, it had made everything silly. The spell was too powerful, too wobbly, and it was changing things. The castle guards' shiny helmets were now floppy jester hats. The grand staircase had turned into a slippery slide, and knights were sliding down with whoops of laughter and surprise. The water in the royal fountain was now fizzy lemonade. It was chaos. Hilarious, bubbly chaos, but chaos nonetheless. Professor Hoot flew into the room, flapping his wings in a flurry. "Princess Pickle, what have you done?" he hooted, trying to sound stern, but a little chuckle escaped his beak. "I just wanted to make everyone happy," she cried, dodging a floating candelabra that was singing opera. But the spell went all wrong. Or maybe all silly. Professor Hoot landed on her shoulder. "The great giggle spell is powerful, but without the proper control, it follows the silliest path. We need to reverse it before the whole castle turns into a circus." "But how?" asked Princess Pickle, her eyes wide. "The book didn't have a reverse spell." Professor Hoot ruffled his feathers thoughtfully. "Every silly spell has a serious solution. The spell was powered by silliness, so we must counter it with seriousness. We need to perform the Great Grouch Grumblestone spell." Princess Pickle's face fell. "A grouchy spell? But that sounds so unfun." "Sometimes, my dear princess," said the owl wisely, "a little bit of serious is needed to fix a whole lot of silly. Now, quickly, to the library." They swooshed back to the library, slipping and sliding on the now waxy floors. They found the counter spell. It required a tear of boredom, a sigh of impatience, and the grumble of a sleepy badger. Finding a sleepy badger was out of the question, so Professor Hoot said a very serious, very boring lecture about the history of dust bunnies would have to do. They gathered the strange ingredients. Princess Pickle held her wand, but this time her hand wasn't so wiggly. She was focused. She knew she had to fix her mistake. She took a deep breath and recited the serious, boring words. "Grouchus Grumblestone, blah, blah, blah. Make this silliness go fa-fa-far. Turn the giggles into a yawn and restore the castle by the dawn." She gave the wand a firm, steady wave. No rainbow smoke this time, just a puff of gray dust that smelled like old books and Mondays. Slowly, magically, the castle began to change back. The giggling faded into sleepy sighs. Sir Reginald the Armor stood silent once more. King Cuthbert's portrait looked stern again. The throne's tail vanished, and the slippery slide turned back into a grand staircase. Her froggy slippers hopped back onto her feet, turning back into soft royal slippers. Everything was quiet. Everything was normal. Maybe a little too quiet. The castle felt a bit sad without the laughter. Princess Pickle looked at Professor Hoot. "I'm sorry, Professor. I got carried away. I guess some spells are for grown-up wizards for a reason." Professor Hoot patted her head with his wing. "You learned a very important lesson, Princess Pickle. Magic isn't just about big, flashy results. It's about balance. A little bit of silly is wonderful, but too much can be a pickle." Princess Pickle smiled. A real, gentle smile. "Maybe we can practice the feather spell now?" she asked. "I think I'm ready to be patient." And as she pointed her wand at the feather, she thought that maybe, just maybe, the quiet magic was the most special magic of all. But she also made a secret promise to herself. When she was a grown-up, she would master the great giggle spell. And once a year, she would fill the castle with laughter, the right way. Thanks for watching our story. If you liked Princess Pickle's silly adventure, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more fun stories. See you next time.